Good morning, my loves. Well, it's Wednesday today. I thought I'd get out, do a video, because on Friday I'm going to be travelling to Wales to meet up with Kirsty Jandrell and the other members of our retreat at the Dreaming. Very excited. And I'm not going to have an awful lot of time, basically. Now, just first of all, out the gates, I've read your comments, I've heard you, and it's really touched my heart. Thank you. I'm going to be moving back to doing regular updates, but I'm not going to stick to a particular day, like today's Wednesday, for instance. I felt like there was something to express, to bring through. So it's Wednesday. Next week it might be Thursday or it might be Saturday. So there won't be any kind of particular form. It will just be when something is making itself prominent in the field and I feel it would be beneficial to interpret it and express it. And I don't know about any of you, but the last 2 days I have literally, all I've done is sleep. And woke up this morning feeling like I'd had a night out or something. The energies are very intense. Don't know why exactly. I think basically the overall field of frequency on this world at the moment it's very high and rising every day. It's been rising every day since the 21st of December 2012. We've not had a kind of a plateau or a peak and then a drop. All it does is it consistently rises, and when it consistently rises, we are continuously updating our own bodies and our fields and our ways of being, our thoughts, our perceptions, just to keep pace and keep step. And some very, very interesting information and energies came through to me on Sunday. For those of you that came along for the Working with the Elementals on Sunday night, for me personally, it was the bandwidth that I was working with was completely unique. I've learnt to recognise almost the symptoms that I have when something shifts rapidly. Okay, so if you look at how, if we had like a graph that would identify the rise in energies since we begun this process on the cosmic moment, it would probably climb steadily, but then there would be like almost like mountain tops where it jumps very rapidly. This year it's jumped rapidly. I mean, there's no way of actually truly measuring it. We can only use our own. We are the litmus test basically for that energy, for that frequency. But the world around us is also a good indication of where we are. My personal process, for me, the way I receive energies, I'm very clairsentient, I'm claircognizant. I will, on occasions, be privy to something which is visual. Sunday was one of those occasions because the majority of stuff that I bring through for my live events, be it online, unless I'm cooperating with, say, somebody like David or Lavisa or Diana, and then we'll pre-prepare, because otherwise you've just got a mess of two ideas coming together. So for the work that I do on my own, the 99% of it's channeled in the moment. It often makes me feel very uneasy, or I allow myself to feel uneasy because I'm still not 100% confident of my ability to do this. It's relatively new. I used to pre-plan and pre-prepare everything. If I was doing an hour Zoom event, I'd have a 3,500 word meditation, pre-written. So all I do is go, hi everybody, and then start reading what I bought through that day or the day before or whatever. What I'm finding now is that we are almost being required to feel it in the moment, to receive it in the moment, to have the absolute kind of the rawness of the cutting edge information come through on our perceptive level. And I know when I go through periods of I call it going dark. When I describe what going dark is, people go, oh my God, yeah, I'm there now, or I've been through it, or I dread going through it, because it is remarkably uncomfortable. It's when somebody it's when somebody flicks your switch completely off. Okay, you're a receptive being, I'm a receptive being. We are privy to the world in physical and spiritual with all of our senses, and all of a sudden it's like someone puts a pillowcase over your head and mufflers on your ears and blinkers over your eyes. You can't see, you can't sense, you can't hear. You are effectively receiving nothing. I call it going dark. This has happened to me multiple times over the course of my spiritual awakening, the work that I do, and every time I do it, I don't like it. Okay, and that's because I like to know where I'm going, what I'm doing. I like to be in control of my environment because I'm human. Okay, and I'm sure everybody else feels the same. We get very comfortable very quickly receiving what we receive. It comes in abundance. There are literally millions upon millions of beings of light from all of the different serving factors who are overjoyed to be connected to us, to be giving us information, to assist us, who are very, very proud of what we're doing down here, because let's face it, we got here, we were the ones that were designated for the jobs. We were the ones that were good enough to make it through all of the tests, all of the spiritual initiations prior coming down to earth. And now we're awake, they are ecstatic that we are receiving and communicating and acknowledging them. So when someone puts a bag over your head and the blink and the mufflers on your ears, you're like, all right, well, what have I done wrong? What have I done wrong? Have I been a bad light worker? Have I failed a test? Have I had all my powers taken away? You know, all of the inevitable ego, little me questions come up. And just recently, particularly during April, I've been really feeling that. Now I've learnt to acknowledge it and recognise it for what it is. It's an upgrade, but there's still that little part of me that protests, that wriggles, that does not like being put in the dark room. And so recently all of the senses have come back for me. And on Sunday I was receiving in the moment, literally prior to working with the elementals, the event, the presence of a truly magnificent being who calls herself Goddess Taia. Now, Taia is very similar to the name Gaia. I noticed there were a couple of people who were in the chat on the Zoom event that were kind of checking the name to cross-reference it. A lot of the beings that we are connecting to now they're not familiar to us. They've come in from an outside source. They're almost new to our universe. Not Wesak just gone, but the one before. It was known as the 100-year gathering of the masters, and thousands of beings that have not previously been connected to Earth came in. Firstly, because our frequency has risen enough for us to begin to be able to work with them, but secondly, because things have got so interesting here on Earth that the clarion call has gone out. The whole universe has begun to respond to us, and we're getting beings that you might not be familiar with beginning to connect. So Goddess Taia is effectively the incredible almost like the ether, the conscious ether essence, the goddess essence of all of the elemental realm. That's how she's described herself to me. So for those of you that know the elemental realm have gone through their ascension process, I've spoken about it I'm staggered that it's happened, because it's indicating just how fast things are moving on this world. It's also a real joy to witness, because the elementals are by far our most powerful allies here on earth. Well, apart from the dragons and the unicorns and the angels and the ascended masters and the galactics, the elementals work alongside us. I'm sat here in the woods and I'm surrounded by them. You know, the minute you acknowledge them and you ask permission to connect, they are there for us. But it wasn't quite like that previously. For those of you that have had elemental connections in the past, we've almost had to be a little bit careful, a little bit wary about how we approach them, how we enter their spaces, how we communicate with them. And in many cases, there's been areas of them that just simply do not like people, because of the way that we have acted, the way that we've treated each other, and the way that we've treated our planet. And in order for them to step up through their ascension process to gain their silver wings, they were asked to drop that hostility, which they did. So the elemental realm and all of the beings that occupy the elemental realm will have gone through a very similar shadow releasing process that we did, to release the pain, to release the anger, to release the hostility, to basically drop the baton and go, okay, we're all going to work together now. This is a clean page, a fresh start. We all need to be on board with each other. And so now every time that we connect with them, every time we step into the elemental realm, say the woods, the trees, you know, even feet on the grass in the middle of the city, you know, those little green areas that you sometimes get surrounded by buildings, or, you know, in the centre of the metropolis. Those are havens for the elementals that exist there. So this beautiful being, this Goddess Taia, stepped through, and I'm receiving this information literally minutes before I go live. And I said, look, this is important to me. Could I please have confirmation that what I'm receiving is legitimate? Because I'm about to present this to hundreds of people. And I looked up from asking the question, and directly in front of me, outside in my field of vision, was the most glorious double rainbow. And it was just stunning. I was like, thank you. So it doesn't matter where you are on your pathway, how long you've been doing this. Sometimes it pays to ask the universe for confirmation. And if the energy is right for you at that particular time, you will get a big flashing yes. Yes, you are on the right path. So what does this mean for us? What does the presence of this goddess elemental, this incredible being, and the elementals coming on board mean for us? Essentially, it means that we are being backed by the planet itself, the essence of the planet itself, fire, earth, air, water, ether, all of the beings that exist here. And they can, of course, see our heart. They can see our heart light. They can see us from a different perspective. I was taken briefly into the almost shown through the eyes of the elementals how they see the world, their point of existence, and it's stunning, absolutely beautiful. Imagine being in the woods as I am, but everything is surrounded by rainbows, the colours are vivid. You can almost see the liquid energy dripping from the plants and the trees, and everything is moving. Okay, this is the thing about the elemental and the energetic realms that we deal with. We're the only ones that perceive solid, okay, because that's our perception of the world at this present moment in time. The second you dip into the higher energy dynamics, you'll see that energy never ceases movement. It is constantly flowing, it is constantly evolving, it's constantly seeking to express itself in its highest potential. And what she was essentially saying is that the biggest assistance that we need at this moment is with the manifestation of our reality, because we've got a very dedicated group of beings in a state of absolute panic around the world who are doing their best to convince us that reality is a certain way. They are asking us to return to natural law. Okay, so with natural law, you have it's Mars and Venus. You have natural law, God's law, and you have the laws of man, which are essentially just words written on a bit of paper or typed on a computer and then kind of fed out through the various agencies that seek to control the world. So the elementals, almost echoing Archangel Michael's sentiment, to stop making agreements with these people, stop honouring or acknowledging laws that are made by people that are no greater and no lesser than you, other human beings. So when you align yourself with the law of source, law of God, the natural laws, whatever you want to call it, you begin to flow with the energies that are completely abundant around us. There's so much of it. There's so much of it because we can't see it immediately unless we tune into it. We're beginning to feel it and we're beginning to sense it. But the eyes that we look upon the world with are still a little bit on the limited side. So returning to, I've spoken about this again recently, returning to natural law, honouring the laws of the planet, the laws of God, the laws of source itself, requires a huge amount of change on our part. These changes are underway all around us. We can see the rising of this sovereignty consciousness within the masses, the pulling away of the rejection of the old ways, the rejection of the matrix. But yeah, like a particularly persistent ex-partner, the matrix doesn't want to be dumped. The matrix does not want to be left behind. It does not want to be disempowered. It does not want to be waved at from the other side of the fence while we're all enjoying ourselves. It wants us to be miserable. So this is what we're dealing with at the moment. The elementals are saying very clearly, align with us, seek us for healing, walk into our spaces. Obviously, I'm a great believer in manners, okay? I asked the other day, can I enter this space? And this was when I was in the woods in Germany. This is my few videos back. I spotted this beautiful glade to record my video in when I was in Germany last in Kaisersbach. And the elementals just went, of course, why are you asking? And I was like, well, because this is what we've been asked to do. This is what we feel is the right thing to do. So I staggered into the glade and recorded my video. But this is essentially what we're being presented with now. If we come with an open heart, with love, then we are welcome. If we are shining, if we are bright, if our intentions are good, then we are welcome. We are part of this world now, this ascending world, this world that is supported with these frequencies, and we have work to do, okay? What we are being presented with might feel overwhelming, but it's little steps at a time that we take. We take what is presented with us on the day. The most important thing is our frequency. Your frequency is your greatest currency, your energy, your intention, where you put your focus. So focus on you, focus on the natural world, focus on the alignment with your source energy, your soul pathway, where you are flowing, where you are going. We've regularly had or almost got used to having our joy stripped away from us by the intensity, by the pressure, and it's time to reclaim that. It's easy saying it, and then you get kind of buried with the day's trials and tribulations, but it is important that we return to this. So these are my musings today from the woods. I felt like I needed to express this. I'll be talking about it later on this morning in my WAGs as well, my weekly Ascension group support, and because it's important. It's important that we know that this is available for us, and it's also important to know that we are now stepping into a field where our creation of the next phase kind of has to be quite flawless. The distractions are off the charts, they really are. So if you're feeling burdened, if you're feeling distracted, if you're feeling like it's hopeless and there's no good that you can do that will make the situation better, go and seek the counsel. Go and seek counsel with the elementals. Just sit in the woods. Go to the water. Go for a walk. Call them in, and just say, look, I need some light. I need some courage, some levity, some joy, and you will have it provided for you, and guarantee that. It's an amazing space to be in at this moment in time, and now we're fast approaching the June solstice. Where's the year gone? Love you all very much, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.